Hey everybody, Chris here. So when Dogecoin rocket? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out as well as when I do live streams. And no, I'm not talking about the Doge 1. We do hear from Geometric that could still be on tap, but not until 2026. So we wait for that, but no, when's Dogecoin going to go up? We all want to know. So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts in the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here with the current Dogecoin chart at 19.82, right below 20 cents, which we touched yesterday and early this morning. But still, for the last 15 days since the flash crash that we had just over 2 weeks ago, Dogecoin's moving sideways. Moving in the purple box, moving sideways, and it's not just Dogecoin. Bitcoin as well is just moving sideways. The Bitcoin box looks like it's a lot bigger. Actually, it's really smaller because it's been much less volatile. So TradingView makes it look like it's a bigger change. Yeah, but it really isn't. ETH as well, going sideways since October 11th as well, but everything is. There's Algorand in its sideways box. There's Solana in its sideways box. There's Cardano in its sideways box. Hedera, we've got SHIB, we've got Litecoin, we've got VeChain, and even XRP, although XRP is threatening to break out a little bit here right near the top of its box, so XRP is doing just a little better today. But still, it's a sideways market. It's a crab market, as we were talking about on my live stream yesterday. It's a crab market. So when is this finally going to break out? When are we going to get to 21 cents, which breaks out of the purple box, and 22 cents, which is that big resistance that we need to get over, which we just touched back here on the 13th of October. That will be the sign where Dogecoin breaks above 22, comes back and retests and move higher. That would be the classic move, but yet we wait. What are we waiting for? Well, we got stocks, right? We've got stocks hitting new all-time highs. We can come back and we can look at S&P 500, new all-time high on Friday. We've got the NASDAQ, new all-time high on Friday. We've got the Dow Jones, new all-time high on Friday. Gold is, since it had its double top of its all-time high with a little smiley face there, pulled back, touched $4,000 as support, and now is kind of moving around sideways, as I had talked about. So that's what gold is doing. And Bitcoin dominance is in its purple box down here. It just touches 60% every now and then, but in the upper 59s. So Bitcoin dominance is moving sideways as well. So what do we make of all of this, right? Well, we've got Bitcoin in this triangle pattern, but you know, if you really look at it, it's a sideways box. But is this a little bit of a breakout? I don't think so. I think it's still just kind of moving sideways. I like the target, $136,000, but it's not ready to move yet. Vivek did a repost of the Merlin chart that we showed yesterday. So this was today, and I was like, wait, this is a nice post. I like it. Gold going up, right? M2 money supply going up, and Bitcoin just kind of churning sideways. And I was like, wait, I showed this yesterday. Well, of course, it wasn't Vivek's chart. It was Merlin's chart, right? And Merlin even had his logo on the chart, and Vivek erased the logo. It's like, wait, I knew I saw this chart. But that aside, I mean, that's what goes on over at crypto Twitter or X or whatever. But the point is there, right? We've got stocks all-time high. We got gold just went up. M2 money. What's going on with crypto? Well, we know, right? It's the leverage. We talk about that in our live streams. The longs and the shorts. And now we're just bottling in. We're just throttling in. And not only for Bitcoin, but all the major alts too that have all leverage, short and long. And right now, the market makers are just kind of letting it go sideways here. Now, is that leading up to a bigger run once we have the breakout? Possibly. And when is that going to happen? When is that going to happen? Well, next week we have the FOMC meeting, the Fed, is going to lower interest rates, right? So that's going to give us a little volatility, might give us a little pump. But what about the big move? When's that going to happen? Because we'll have, right, quantitative easing is going to start here next week. We're going to talk about like reducing the balance sheet. The Fed is going to do that. Powell mentioned it last month, and he's probably going to talk about it again this month, which is going to give a little bit of fuel to the fire. That will be nice. Bitcoin dominance. It has been in a long downtrend from 2019, 2021, now 2025. You draw that line and you're like, okay, that was the top at 66%. And we are here. Is this going to move down like we saw back in 2021 when we have alt season? Is alt season really coming? We'll be watching that. The Dogecoin Fear and Greed Index is at 40, so we're out of the fear and we're into the neutral now, as Doge has been slowly, quietly moving up. Just slowly, quietly moving up, so that gets us out of the fear range. But what does CoinDesk say? Hey, Dogecoin hit 20 cents. Breakout volume triples average. Well, there were kind of like two spikes, right? There was one spike up there yesterday and another spike up overnight. We touched 20 cents again, but there's no volume, right? So I don't know what they're talking about breakout volume. There's just no volume. We had a little bit here yesterday, and then as Dogecoin, there was some profit taking, right? And Dogecoin kind of went down a little bit, so that there was a little volume there, but nothing overnight and nothing today so far. Dogecoin bears tighten grip. There are some bears out there. I do know that. But the support zone hints at a potential reversal. And we're seeing that, again, this support down here at 18 cents, right? We touched it after the flash crash. We touched it back here on the 11th of October and hit it again right down to $17.99 right there on the 17th, just over a week ago. And now Dogecoin is showing that support as it moves forward. Trader Allen saying, look, we're kind of in this descending triangle. Well, we were, right? On 2 days ago, he called this, right? And then, well, we got a little bit of a breakout, but overall, it's really just sideways. And I think this is going to go sideways for a bit more. We'll be watching that. Also, double bottom. Again, we looked back a week ago, and Trader Allen called this double bottom kind of a not an Adam and Eve, but an Eve and Adam, right? It's an Eve and Adam double bottom. And are we starting to begin that move that would come up here, right? Because we didn't have that 2 weeks ago. We were in that red. We were very bearish. Now, and again, this is a 3-day chart, so not a lot of movement yet, but it's starting to show that move that Trader Allen predicted. And of course, Bitcoin Census, looking ahead, says, look, we're in. If we zoom out and we look at the big 4-year cycle, right? From the bear to the reset to the full bull, 2017. The bear, the reset, and then the full bull, 2021. So we had the 2022 bear, we had the 23 and the 24 reset, and now we're in 25, and we haven't had the full bull yet. When's that going to happen? That's what we're talking about. A lot of people are going to pin this on X money, right? When are we going to get X payments? When are we going to have Doge on X payments? Well, Doge tipping reminds us we still have 42 states and 1 district. So that means we've got 9 states to go, not 8, but 9. Because of the 1 district. I think the 42 is the total number. That's what I thought. So, but maybe they've got 43. Including District of Columbia. So maybe it is 8. One state that isn't there is Massachusetts. That's where I live, in Boston here. And of course, fully Democratic. They're not going to support X. They're not going to support what Elon is doing, right? So I am stuck here, right? I'm stuck in Massachusetts. And of course, New York, they pulled it. So New York's not going to happen. Maybe they just launch and they just don't have these states yet that don't have the little Doges on them, like Washington and Montana and Wisconsin here. I mean, we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know why they're not continuing to push for these other states or what's happening with them. And so we wait. Do they have to have all the states before they launch? Or are they going to launch without it? We wait. And of course, Rob over at Digital Asset News is like, yeah, the banana zone. Remember the banana zone? Look at these bananas. This is hilarious. So when is this going to happen? When are we going to have the rocket for Dogecoin? Well, let's look at Polymarket because it's the government shutdown. Yes, the U.S. government shutdown, I believe, is what is causing this right now. Everybody's in a wait-and-see mode. And so it's really the bots and the algos are like the only volume because nobody's buying. Some on the little dips, right? We see the little dips and they come back up, right? But it's just going sideways. So everyone is this wait-and-see mode. Well, Polymarket is not our friend right now because you see this orange line where most of the betting is, and you would think, well, how about next week, right? Next week, it's like 4%. And then the following weekend, 11%. And then 16% for November 4th through 7th. And it's like, okay, we'll go for that, right? Get that done after next weekend. But no, the biggest voting is after November 16th. Almost half of the bets right now are November 16th. That would be a record, right? Longest U.S. government shutdown ever. The bettors think the Democrats have their heels, stuck. And Republicans have their heels stuck in, right? And there's not going to be negotiation. This isn't good. We don't want this. We don't want this. The longer this goes, right? Yeah, the Fed can still cut rates next week. We might get a little bump. Quantitative easing, yes. We have gold, we have stocks, right? They're all up. Why not crypto, right? Crypto is just in the grips of the exchanges and the money makers right now, or the market makers, and it's just not moving. And that may be a challenge. And if we've got to wait like 3 more weeks for any movement, well, we're getting near the end of the 4-year cycle then. And it's just like, well, wait a second. What do you mean? We're supposed to have the banana zone, right? Right? We're supposed to have the banana zone. And this big rocket is supposed to happen. But the closer and closer we get to the end of the year, if we really do follow the 4-year cycles, the less likely that may be. Unless we get some wild card, right? Like X payments. If X payments can launch, some are saying, well, maybe it'll launch December 31st. That's right to the last day of the year. Maybe that's what it is. We will see. For now, sideways trading, guys. It's just sideways, crab market trading. So that's where we are on this weekend. No live stream on Saturday afternoon for those who were waiting for that. I'll be live on Sunday instead. So make sure you're subscribed. You got your notifications on and all that. Please leave a comment below. What do you think about the crab market, sideways market? It's not a bear, but it's not looking very bullish either right now. We're all waiting, anticipating what's coming. Give the video a like. And again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.